Haha. I reckon I've sussed this. Anybody out there? I've got loads of props ready. First time I've done this, I did a little go yesterday. Got my white t-shirt on. I noticed when people were showing rigs out, it didn't really show, so I've got a white t-shirt on. So yeah, I'll probably get it dirty in the next era, but here we go. So welcome to my first live with right, Mark Sanders, Terry Lambert. Thank goodness for that. I got it right. Thanks, guys. I can see you watching. I had a few questions first of all from yesterday, and I'll get those done first. If you've got any more far away, there was some regarding our margin poles. It's not really something I do, but I sell them, and I know what they're up against really. But a lot of people will remember the old H1 Slim, really popular pole, incredibly strong. Like, you know, you sort of see people on from Europe just catching like massive catfish, massive carp, like 30-pounders. You know, anything like Eclipse, anything we catch over here, and they're using our poles. It's really good. It's good endorsement of the fact they're really strong. But the H1 Slim was particularly good. It was really thin in diameter, and it was very good. Like, people used to buy them and take them to Ireland, Denmark, Holland. You know, all the festivals. So they're really good for that. That's sort of finished now. There's a new one out. There's two new ones out, and they're basically on exactly the same mandrel as the H1 Slim. So all your top kits will fit. We also sell the slim top kits as well, and they are. Bear with me. Right, here we go. So we got the back to front, of course they are. The Xperia is this one here, and the Superba, exactly the same mandrels. The Superba is like a slightly lighter carbon, so it's easier to handle. But you can both use any of them, like, you know, to hand, and they both go to 10 meters. They're looking at about 325 for this one, and I think it's about 250ish for that one. I might get slated for like flogging them too cheap, but yeah, the Xperia is a really good pole. And it's superb. I think we're doing a deal on these at the moment, so like go to your Colmic dealer, because I think I can get a bit more offer for them. So obviously that'll go to the customer as well. But like to hand poles, I mean, that's 10 meters. Look how thin it is. It's like, you know, amazing really, and like super strong. You can put like 20 elastic in them and use them as like margin poles as well. So that's how good they are. The other ones we do, so Colmic do. Things here. So you might sort of see some of our poles, like the F66 people use them. They've got an EC200 top kit, and they're sort of standard with all our match poles, the 30-metre ones they sell in the continent, and also the 60-metre ones they do for the UK market. You'll see another one, there it goes, with a K on it. That stands for Carper with a K. And what that is a slightly enlarged sort of number 2 section. So that if you try and put those on the F66, they're just too big. But obviously, you know, more carbon, you know, stronger. So a lot of their carp poles have got this sort of K on them as well. So there'll be Carper. This is a Speed K40, and that's just arrived typically just before the lockdown. So I haven't got it out to show the shops yet. But I mean, I got masses of samples here, and if anybody wants any, certainly in my area, and obviously in the Midlands, have a chat to Adam or Sean in the north, and we'll get them to the shop. So, you know, the shopkeepers as well, you know, you don't have to buy one, just get one, we'll drop it off, and you know, your customers have a waggle with them. It's really good. But the K series is the Carper, and then obviously the ones for the match have got like an M or an EC, which but it's a slightly smaller bore. But these are like incredibly strong as well. You can probably lift me with them, which is, you know, maybe not, in the current like eating fest I've been on for the last, and drinking fest I've been on for the last you know, 6 weeks, like we all have been, I'm sure. But you know, I see everybody doing press ups now on Facebook, but please don't you know, get me in on that, because I won't do it. So that was our poles. So the K series of the Carpers, and you can get them up to 13 meters. I mean, it's not really a margin pole; it's just a beast really. And then you know, generally the Xperia or the Superba are thinner, great for the margins, but equally, like, you know, if you want to fish them to hand on the rivers, you know, maybe if you're fishing, I don't know, the Yare. I've not ever been up there, but you sort of see videos of it, or the Y. That'd be great for that. Really thin and really strong, and really, like, you know, I've been waving them about my head. We went to the Fishermania last year, and it's just waggling for people. I was just like sweeping around my head, thinking that's going to go, but it didn't. It was like brilliant. So that's the first question I got for people. There's another one regarding pole rigs, which, you know, obviously my delight is pole fishing, and how I store them, how I make them up. and whatever. So the first thing is for the canal rigs. Just grab this. I feel like I'm Blue Peter here. It's like, here's something I prepared earlier. In fact, quite a few I prepared. So I keep mine in these little EVA bags. You've got a clear lid so you can see them. It says canal backwards on there, and the other one says river backwards as well. And it's coming to make them, but the Fox, I'm sure the Preston ones fit as well. Just fit in perfectly. So there they come, out with the rigs, and they stay on like that. So from this side here, these are the Velux. They go into 0.2, so you know for down track fishing they're great. And that's it. They're all stored on there, and you can zip them away so they're don't get wet. You don't and they're basically protected. Now these slide inside the bottom of my box. When the foot plate goes under, you got little shelves. So I put 2 of these on. One's got my rigs in. One's got my things like toss pots, chopworm scissors, catapults, all sorts of stuff. It goes in there. And it's really, people are sort of saying, oh, you need a bottom tray. But do you think people use any more the bottom trays, for your box? These are like so much easier. They're about, 14, 13, 13 quid possibly. And there's about 4 sizes. This is the 20 size that fits the winders. So, and just to prove, I've got the river ones in as well. There's the one with the river back to front on there as well. So we've got obviously the jollies in there, which I'm a user of. We had a little bit on our Facebook page the other day on the Colmic UK Facebook, and people were asking about the jollies. I've got a few here as well. So what I'll do, I'll see who's watching. Stuart Keeble, hello mate, how are you? Andrew Trudgeon, Andy Jackson, oh hello. Cancel that. Nicky Howell, Steve Heath, good mate, good man. And thanks Clive, Alan Barnes there. Talking about the modern fiberglass pole there. Mark Brush, good user of the Colmic seat box that I use as well, the cross box. Aaron Pickett again, so what a mate, a stream user. Wayne Gray, oh yeah, so we got Carl over at Greens. My favourite tackle shop in Wales, that is Greens Fishing Tackle. Sorry to anybody who works anymore, but Carl's taking on, can you believe someone's calling me? Bugger off. I go over to Wales, vlog some stuff. Carl's taking it on there, gets the Colmic stuff from his customers. They love it. I mean, I've done a few poles and boxes. Really, really nice. Nice place to go. I like to see Carl, and obviously, before as well. So yeah, Ian Spanswick's watching. Let's scroll down. Any more questions yet? Colmic here in Lincolnshire. Right, Andy Jackson. I got a feeling Sean's your man for that. He lives in North Newark. He's pretty sure he does Lincolnshire. My phone will go off in a minute, so I should have silenced it. I'm not being particularly professional. Jonathan Whitehouse, Adam Padme. Yeah, you asked me about the pole rigs, didn't you? You want to see some pole rigs and what I use. So I'll tell you what. One of my favourites is the Lux. So if you look at that one there. We've been a bit of discussion on those. There's a Lux there. It's got a 1 mil plastic tip. Very, it's like the Orchie really, the Centre's Orchie. But the thing with these ones, the eye is like normal. So with the eye, the line goes straight up through the eye. With the Orchie, it's on its end and it goes through. I just like these. I just slide up the line better. That's all. They're a lovely, bread punch rig. I just use them generally use them on the inside when I'm fishing the canal. And if you're catching lots of fish, they're just lovely. Come out the water really cleanly. This one is, let's get it off. I suppose everybody else has actually done their kit in the last 6-8 weeks. I've just done nothing. I got my stuff out of the car about a week ago and washed it off. Because generally I keep it up together anyway. And I can't really see the point in just taking it off just to put it back on again. Particularly the lines you're using are good. And I'll move on to that later. So there was a discussion on back shots today. I always put a back shot on here. Look, can you see that? So look at that white T-shirt. I've done them proud. So there's your Lux. The back shot goes about bristle's length away, and it helps sink the line. I don't know what it is. It just makes the pole flip more sensitive. Just I don't know. I've always done it, and it tends to work. But this is how simple my rigs are. There we go, an Olivet. Wow, for for the bread fishing. And another shot, and another one. Now the hook length is stream, and I've been asked about that as well. Particularly nice one. The hook length ends there, look. But can you see I've got a shot on it? Which obviously, you know, you sort of hear some people, it's a cardinal sin, but I like to keep it really simple. And I'll get a hook length box out in a minute, but essentially it's like a 6 inches. Now if you want it shorter, if you want to get a shot shorter, you know, you don't want to put a shot on your hook length, then you've got to tie up short hook lengths. And I can't be bothered with all that nonsense. I just tie them 6 inches and then put a shot on there. So there's the. And I tend to find if you, there's one, there's another. It's sort of come about possibly when I used to fish down in Somerset a lot. Sort of about the time when Mike Stone he won the Matchman of the Year down in Bridgewater, down in Taunton, and it's all about bread punch fishing. I mean, I've been down to Taunton this year. It's a wonderful place. Went down with my mates down there, who I've just sorted out of a Colmic deal. Dan showed me the place, and Simon as well. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let's turn my phone off. Sorry about that, guys. There's probably somebody trying to get hold of me for something completely not to do with fishing. Yeah, so I tie the 6 inch hook lengths. Now, if I do want to make them shorter, the thing is with the bulk there, obviously with the 6 inch hook length, you can't get your bulk any closer. I mean, going back to sort of Somerset in the days when we used to sort of fish with bread down there, you basically want the see how nice that slides. You want to get as close as you can. So there's the bulk, Olivet, 2 droppers, well, basically underneath it. Hook length sort of starts just under, you just about to see it. There's 1 dropper, and then there's the hook, and there's somewhere. The shot, you know, this is I think this is 07 or 06 stream. The shot size on it, lovely. It's just wonderful line. It was wonderful line. I'm trying to get everybody to use it because obviously, you know, the commission and all that. But actually, you know, I just like people to use stuff that's really good. And I know it's easy to go into your shop and, you know, pick up what's there, but this stream is wonderful. I'll go into that in a minute, but here we go. It slides lovely. So I think you pick up the bite quicker if you're getting if you like if fish are sucking in like bread punch or squats or whatever. The closer you can get the shot to the hook length, the quicker you'll pick the bite up, and then you sometimes you get these tiny little dinks on the float. Just slide that shot quicker and closer to the hook, and you just pick them up quicker. And obviously if you swing out, goes under, dinks, strike, and back in again. It's obviously quicker than shipping the pole out, sitting and waiting for it to properly happen when your shot's not close enough to the hook length. But I really don't bother about having it a shot on the hook length. I don't think I've ever had a hook length break because I got a shot on it. I know it's the cardinal sin, but it's just one of those things. So there's the shot there. Let's put this away. So onto the hook lengths. I tend to use mine. People sort of say, how long are your hook lengths? Basically, it's how long the pins are in your box, isn't it, really? I use 4s, so, it's probably rusted open, I've been open for a while. So I've got the little things in there, which you get with your cameras, and I think it's silica gel, keeps them nice. So they're all in there, Super Spades, Colmic, and the bottom one's there. So basically all of mine are sort of 6 inches. Now, if I'm fishing for bleak on the river, or anywhere really, I want to get sort of slightly closer, I'll tie them at 4. What I've got to tie them with, I know people pay hundreds of pounds on gizmos, but being a careful person is probably the best way of putting it. I just use a Stomfo hook tie. Put my box here. There go the rigs. So basically one of those things, so it sort of spins round. It's just nice to use. I put the line on the table, put a pint of beer on top of it, pull the line, pull it tight, round it go. And then I tie a loop afterwards. I tie onto this thing here. Now this isn't really, I've had it for donkeys as you can see. I'll tell you put me on this. Ian Didcott, he came down to talk to us regarding, it must have been a match on the Gloucester, I'd imagine. I can't remember. He had a bit of wood in his hook box with 2 pins on it. I thought, how simple is that? Before you sort of, put the hook around the pin, try and stretch it round, it doesn't really work properly, and you sort of, and it's fiddly, but a standalone sort of, so that's basically a roofer's batten with a nail for your hook. And I've got 3 pins there covered in rubber for to actually get the length of the hook length. Now with all mine tied at 6, or the pole one's tied at 6. What I can do is just basically take one off here. I might even do it. How about that? Let's try one I'm not going to use for a while. So there's round it goes. I can probably do this about 30 seconds. So if I'm sort of fishing, I need to use a sharp hook. Round that one there. I haven't got my glasses on, so it sort of forms the loop. I bet you really, people are bored, aren't they, watching me tie hooks? Just to anyway. So there we go, 4-inch one. So essentially, I've transformed it from a 6 to a 4 in about 30 seconds, and that'll go on the line. Now, another thing that I do, if you're catching lots and lots of fish, and use a loop to loop, everybody uses loop. No, actually, Bob Nudd uses a older me all the time. I tend to use a loop to loop. I tend to find when you're catching lots of fish, that loop on your main line like stretches and sort of like goes tight together. And when you like you sort of start to burst a maggot, or you feel the hook's not sharp enough, it's a nightmare trying to get your hook through that loop that's tightened up. I'm sure you probably do the same sort of thing. Now, I don't know. I think we're on here. Yeah. So there's my whip rigs. So the rips I carry fully loaded up. It's a case of just unwinding them. If I unwind this one, it's not on there. I must have shown somebody else. Or I put something I prepared earlier in Blue Peter fashion. Right, can you see that? See the bulk of shot? And then you see below it is a swivel. Essentially, it's one of these things. It's a size 24, which is as small as we do, round eye swivel. And they weigh nothing. Now, obviously, when you're fishing with a bulk, probably best that size, a bulk. Let's go down to my t-shirt. There we go. There you can see it easier there. Look. So you've got the swivel and the bulk. Now, because you've got like a wire eye, which is it's so easy to change hook lengths. Now, I started doing that a few years back, fishing like a long whip on the rivers, and because fishing a whip, you just swing it out and it drops down. You haven't really got any control in how you how the rig descends. You're basically getting the bait to where the fish are. I can understand when you're sort of shipping out, when you're shipping out, loads of people watching, Mark Poppleton, Mark Garrett, oh blimey, lots of people here, Charlie, Matt Powell, Rob Hewson. I know I meant driven VE Day, Rob, sorry. You can go and listen to the Queen's speech at 3, and I'll run a flag up for you. But yeah, I'm sure we can go back to all that. Well done, all these guys 75 years ago. Where was I? Yeah. So when you're hook lengths, you're changing hook lengths. It's so much easier to just put a swivel in there. Now I sell loads and loads of these, believe it or not, size 24s down in Christchurch Angling Centre, and they basically just do majority of sea stuff, and they use the 24s on like sea rigs. I know, back in the days when we had an enforced layoff because the close season and we couldn't go anywhere else. I did a little bit of sea fishing probably 30 years ago. I don't do it now. But in those days, it was all about, big hooks and big, swivels and big line. And actually, you'll be surprised if you go into like a shop that sort of specialises in sea match fishing and seeing their rigs, is like, they're using hooks that we're using really, but they're also using those swivels. So they're good enough for the guys at Christchurch, and they're good enough for me. But like I say, the swivels on there are good. A little tip. Now, another thing I use the swivels, and this is again, it's that was my tip, but this is one that Nigel does. Nigel Evans, a good friend of mine, Welsh at National Nige. He actually puts a swivel between the shot and the float, which you think, what's he doing that for? But if you are fishing deep venues, I mean, Nigel likes a Gloucester Canal. I flipping hate this place, but yeah, Nigel likes a Gloucester Canal, but it does vary a bit. So you're looking at like top 5 rigs or top 4 rigs. So you know exactly what's going to happen, don't you? You put a rig on, ship out, put it in. Yeah, okay, it's a bit too much line, chops them off. And then you put the rig away, and then you sort of like get there next time, a bit like and you realise you've got like that much line between the float and the flipping. This, should I tie them on? What Nigel's really clever. Yeah, he is really clever. He basically has a swivel like below the float, so halfway up the rig. I've got one here. Again, Blue Peter fashion. I'll just step on my rigs. I think it's that one there. So we've got like a Rovezzano there, which is like a fibre tipped bodied type float, 2 gram. one I used at Tamar a while ago. I'm going to make all these up at the end. I'm going to have line everywhere at the end of this, aren't I? I'll curse you lot. So, why does Nigel put a swivel between the float and the shot? I bet it's the wrong way. Here we go. So there it is. So a little swivel, just there on its own, out the way. It's between the shot. Now, what? So he keeps ringing me. As you, if you bite the line off, you've either got to make the new rig up. Now, obviously, when you've got the rig right with all the shot on there, or you've got millions of shot or whatever, you don't want to be like just putting them on for the sake of it. So all Nigel does is she ties a bit of new line to the top of his rig, slides the float onto it, bites the line off there, and ties that new line back onto that swivel. And that way, basically, all of the rigs in this box are 5 metres. They're the longest he's ever going to need. And he knows that, you know, it's easy to do. And you get back, you do it on the bank, tie it on there, slide down to this swivel. So the stuff underneath here is untouched, really. It's the business end of the rig that you know, you don't really want to be making it again, really. You know, it's not really battered. I mean, the process of stuff around the float's probably battered, I don't know, but the lines nowadays are really, really good, and I'll go on to that. Somebody's asked me about lines. Somebody asked me earlier about the tech stream. I should be scrolling up and see what else you want to say. Mr. Whip, hello Whippet, Andrew Lightborn, good old man, Colin Parry. Yeah, good idea. Always stretching the pins on. Yes, Colin, make yourself one of these. It's just easiest thing in the world, and you do it and then put it on. You've got to make sure, like, time wise, it's dead right first of all. Then you knock your nail in for sure, and then that is every time. It just works. That stays with me all the time. It stays in my Hooklength in my box. Dave Hemmings, John Barrington, Gareth Evans, Rob Hewson. Use a swivel too, Mr. Chaves. You can't catch Rob out, can you? So this is tech stream. It's appeared this year, but it actually hasn't. If you look at this stream, so it's Mo 7 in my box. That's what it originally appeared like. It was obviously my painting on there, but it's like a goldy colour S on there. I think it was last season. It appeared like this. It's exactly the same. It's essentially, I don't know what they're doing it, but it's they're making it nicer and neater. And then suddenly this year, this thing appeared, tech stream. Fluoro process, and it's exactly the same. Believe me, it's exactly the same. It's really nice. I've got a few people onto this. I saw Aaron earlier. He's had a go and he likes it. Rob Hewson, yeah, he likes it as well. But it's something about it. I just ties like really good. You know, you sort of go through some lines. You've got to be really, really careful, and you get little kinks or. Just, you know, this stuff just ties lovely. The guy who did the gizmo machine, I don't too expensive for me to buy. I think pretty sure he tested all the lines. And this one like came at the top. It was like the most like user friendly, nicest line, and I think he endorsed it. And you sort of see some of the early, you know, promotional stuff with it. He's got this stuff, and he's got our Fluorocarbon, which is called King. So this is basically that. Don't bother if you sort of see it in the shops. Is it the right stuff? If you're a long time user of that stuff, it is definitely that stuff. It's we say I think the RRP in the UK is like $5.99, but if you go over Europe, they pay about £9 for it, which is like, because if you look at the RRP against the sort of trade, it actually probably should be that. But we sort of felt, you know, will the UK angler pay £9 for a smaller line when they can go and get one for like 3 or 4? Possibly not, but it basically shows the quality of it. Some of our fluorocarbon is like, you know, horrendously expensive, but you know, again, you know, over in Europe they don't mind that. And in fact, like the people who use like fly fishing, use the fluorocarbons, or the lure anglers, they don't mind paying it. But for something the match anglers, like 50 metres for £16, sod that, I'm not going to pay that. But that's what they pay. So the this stuff here says fluorine process. It's not fluorocarbon. It's possibly what other people call fluorocarbon, but it's not fluorocarbon. It's just a really, really durable, stretchy, ties nice, strong, just doesn't spin up. It just, you know, if you give one thing this year, give this stuff a try. It's just nice, you know, just ties lovely. Regarding getting it, you know, asking your local shop, but there's quite a few people now who mail order. I know after this lockdown, we should be saying to people, go to your local shop and, you know, support them. They've had a hard time of it, but yeah, if you think of one thing this year, give that a go. So going on to the fluorocarbon, I haven't really got onto it. I know loads of people do, and loads of people you know, talk about the stream. Yeah, lovely. Rob's onto the king. Somebody else talked about. I did you on earlier. Somebody asked about the Colmic. Sorry, pretty unprofessional. Talking about the Aaron saying awesome line. It is nice. Yeah. The margarine poles I did earlier, but you know, if you missed it earlier, I'll do some at the end. But the fluorocarbon side of things, I went over to it. I'm really lucky. I went over to Italy to the factory. It's like I was like a fat kid in a sweet shop. You know, you sort of like all your dreams. You sort of sit on the bog reading through a Colmic catalog. Go home the next minute you're in a flipping in Italy, sat next to Jacopo Falsini, like eating lunch and like mooching around there. So but it's really eye opening how big it is. It's a massive, massive, massive company. And like, you know, I think if people go over and watch like the World Champs, you'll see like loads of it in use. And I think that's what they do. They sort of tend to sort of produce stuff like World Championship level stuff, and you sort of see like all and they produce many more like 13-meter poles, because that's basically what the SIPs, FIPS, SIPs, whatever it is, you know, can use. But yeah, go over there and see it. Now, when I was over there, the export manager at the time was talking about lines, and he was saying that obviously they buy it from like several manufacturers. I'm sure everybody else does as well. You know, I don't think Daiwa make line, or Preston or Guru. They just buy it from whoever makes line. There's a line maker. But the guy was saying there's probably like 4 or 5 in the world that are really like top notch. Same with hooks as well. He was saying like, you know, they just buy the line, you know, for whatever they need, you know, from the different manufacturers. And I think it's you know, refreshing to hear that, really. So they pick the. Obviously, I'm very popular there. Yeah, and he was saying regarding the fluorocarbon, he was saying you know, we can't buy it for like under a tenner. You know, if people are sort of saying it's fluorocarbon, it possibly isn't. You know, I'd probably get in trouble for saying that, but so consequently, the king line that we do is something like 12 quid for 50 meters, which is mental. I'm just, but it's good. You know, it is fluorocarbon. It's made by Korea Chemicals, and they're people who like sort of, I think they sort of developed fluorocarbon, or sort of come across the recipe or the formula to make fluorocarbon. So if it's made by Korea, it's Korea. It's K. I see. Essentially, it's fluorocarbon. Now, Korea also produced a line called Sigua. Now, if you're into any guys watching into like your fly fishing, it's vastly used over here for that. But we can't sell it. There's another company. I think it's a fly fishing company. You've got like the distribution rights in the UK. And they sell it, and we can't. We can sell it in Europe, but we can't sell it here. So basically, what Colmic have done, they produce a line called Seacole. So it's Sigua and Colmic, and it's, you know, branded up as ours. But you know, again, it's you know, is the top of the range fluorocarbon that they do. But if you bought it over here, it's like something like 16 quid a spool. It's like horrendously. But you know, if you want to buy, that's what it is. And over there, you sort of see a met of anglers like promoting it over in Europe and Spain and Italy and whatever. It's like. But I think, you know, being a tightwad, I'll stick to stream. I should be trying to make people buy stuff. So we mentioned about rig lines as well. So I've got a few here. X5000 is very nice. That's probably my last spool of those 60. That would be sort of chop wormy, sort of on the river type, you know, line. Very, again, a lovely coating on it. It just, again, shot slide beautifully, but it's really strong, and it just, I don't know, it's really good. I mean, I wouldn't know what difference between this and this, you know, but that's popular, and people who use it, you know, like using it. There's a guy from Golden League, Ruben. If people know Ruben, I met him first of all. He was from Spain, and obviously Colmic's big in Spain, and he sort of knew I was the Colmic rep, and sort of sidled up to me one day in his best, you know, English, like sounding a bit like Manuel, the Spanish, you know, waiter. You know, where can I get X5000? But luckily I've got him to his local shop now. But yeah, that's a good line. So you know, it's something he's always used and is happy with it. Personally, I don't sell too much of it. I tend to sell more of the F1 Spider. So it's possibly, you know, due to the fact there's lots of like commercials down here and people use that. So that's another one. Now I tend to use this for my rig line. It's quite nice. It's got like a bit of a sort of blue hue to it. You can sort of see that. And it's stretchy, and it's durable, and shot sliding it beautifully. And that's powerful. And if you sort of see people who've used it, they've possibly used it for a while. But and the other one, the last one, I really like this. This is my sort of real line, but also it's become a rig line as well. Steel. If you sort of look through the catalogue and like look at the diameter against the strength of it and whatever, This one's the strongest they do. So I thought, well, that's the one to go for. But going on that, it is, you know, Colmic have subscribed to some, I think it's FIPS, some sort of federation in Europe where they've got to, you know, be truthful about what they're selling. So, you know, it's mic'd up, it's exactly right. Clive's talking there. He wants to know about the red hooks. I'll get you in a minute, Clive. This stuff here, you know, is the strongest they do. Still, so I started using it as 014 on my mainline for river fishing, and it's like wonderful. It just 014 is like 2-1 Bayer, possibly from the old days, but it is 2.3 kilograms. So you're looking at like £5. So you're essentially fishing with £5 line with something that used to be like £2. It's so supple. It's got a lovely sort of finish to it. It comes off the water really nice. And I shouldn't be saying this to the tackle dealers, but I've had some on my reel for about 2 years, and it's like just as good as it was when I put it on there. So there's something about that. I remember being at a show once. I think it was Farnborough, and the guys from the UK, or sorry, British English veterans team had sidled up to us. Joe Roberts was one of them, probably. But I think they've been sort of given the nod of what line to get. They were out in Portugal for that, fishing for barbel and stuff, and they sort of, you know, where's your steel? So we sort of got them and showed them. They were quite impressed by it. I think they possibly got some for when the reps up north. But it is lovely, lovely line. Unfortunately, the lowest it goes down to is 012. It's sort of possibly a real line. So I sort of buy this in 012 for my pole rigs for the rivers and stuff. But the 014 is like, it's just bulletproof. It's really strong. I like it. It's about $5.99 a spool. If you're looking at 150 meters, it's not bad. It's not too extortionate, but yeah, I like that. So hooks then, Clive. You talked about the red ones, and a lot of people do red hooks. Unfortunately, we don't do them anymore. There was one before my time with Colmic, and it was called the R100. I've seen them in the bargain buggers of some shops I pop into, but it looks a bit like, I think it was a long shank hook, a bit like the B2000. So essentially our hooks, the prefix at the front indicates what colour it is. So a B hook, B2000, B900, B600 would be a bronze, and it would be an N100 is a nickel. So the R100, I think the R100 or R1000 was our only red hook, and I've not seen them since I started with Colmic, unfortunately. But yeah, it's a funny thing, hooks, because they sort of tend to, you know, Colmic tend to produce stuff for the World Championship teams. Jacopo Falsini, who's like a, you know, top angler, ex-world champion. He works for Colmic. You go over there, he's like, you know, in the factory. It's lovely to see him. But he's a great fan of silver hooks, so the nickel hooks. So they tend to sort of produce them because he likes them. I've often sort of seen like Alan Scawthorne saying a similar sort of thing, that he likes a nickel hook. You know, going on to sort of similar angles, Jacopo Falsini, Alan Scawthorne, and Gary Etheridge, a good friend of mine. Gary likes a nickel hook, and he sort of says they just stay stronger for longer. I think possibly the reason you know, the two World Championships the champions like them is because they basically they get a glint. So like with the sea anglers put like little beads and stuff next to their line to sort of attract the fish. I think, you know, the glint from the silver, and I think people just like that, you know, like that. I sort of went away from it. I like bronze hooks and you know, and black hooks. So yeah, Colmic, sorry, Clive, we don't do red ones anymore. But there's, I mean, majority of them you got a nickel or a bronze or a nickel or a black option. So like the 128 Hayabusas that I use, you can get them by them in nickel. I know Alex Bates did a load of stuff about the High Ben. To see you on there, it's appeared on there. Christian Perry, well, no, mate. Alex Bates did a load of stuff. He you know, he's got a shop and he's brilliant on the fens, and he likes the nickel hooks, and I think he says they stay sharper longer. So going along the same lines as Gary Etheridge, really, thinking that. But I mean, I've had no trouble with the black ones, and I just, you know, tend to use the black ones. You know, they're just you know, wonderful. It's a round bend. Have a look in the catalogue. It's a round bend hook that just basically stays sharp forever. Rob Houston's telling me you got a red 128. I know you've got those from somewhere like. Hi, Christian Perry. Clive's put me a question through. I reckon you got those from abroad, because I was looking online, something like Croatia or Lithuania or something. So I think obviously again, you know, Colmic don't make Hayabusa hooks. Colmic, their two ranges are a nuclear and Hayabusa. Now again, when I was out there, they were saying that they buy their hooks from different people. You go to like a hook manufacturer, say, where's your catalogue, and they'll open his catalogue, and there'll be like a whole range of different types of hooks. And if you want some made, they can produce like 1 million of them in about 3 months. So if I look at my app that I sort of sell stuff for Colmic with, they'll just be like, it's mind blowing how much they've got. You look at like a size 18 128, and there'll be something like 2,000 trade packs of them, and they go in like 6, they're all gone, bloody hell. So they do shift a load of hooks, but yeah, they obviously, he was saying there's like 4 or 5 really good hook manufacturers, mostly in Japan, I think all in Japan actually, and they buy from several of them. The Hayabusa is such a really good name that they keep it on the packet, whereas I think that the nuclears are made by somebody else. It could be, I don't know who, owner Gamba Cat. I have no idea who they're made by, but they're not made by Hayabusa. And they're really strong. And I think Rob, like I say, he's seen some red ones. He's obviously got them from somewhere that we don't buy them from them. So a question for David Martin. The Colmic 66 has been around for a while. Is new top of the range? Oops, sorry. Is there a new top of the range pole coming? Yeah, there is. Obviously, you like to keep it secret as long as you can, so everybody buys the 66s. But yeah, there's one been in development for a while, and again, it'll be on the same mandrel. They promise us that. So if you've got a 66 or a 55 or whatever, which I had a 55 before, if you've got one of those, then everything will fit. But they're talking about sort of like September time, I think. But and we asked them to bring it forward. But obviously, with like the world locking down for the last 6 years, Italy's been closed for a while, China, everywhere's been closed. So possibly the production that might be put back a bit. But there's still loads of 66s. We can sell you on loads of spares. So, but yes, I've had it for 3 years, and my 66, love it. Absolutely, just the stiffest pole you've ever picked up. So yeah, there is one coming. I've just got actually before the lockdown a 13-meter pole. It's cheaper than 66, and you can buy it with like with long tops. So we're thinking about sort of selling it as a river pole. It's called the Era. So you heard this first here. And I've had it up in the garden. It's very nice, slightly softer, but but it's thinner and lighter. So, if that's what you like, and you can buy it with like 5 top 5s of it. So it's really, really, really good. I had a little fiddle, and some of my bits fit it, so I might be getting one myself. But yeah, it's just nice. But yeah, there is one on the way. No idea what it would be called. It was 77, 88. Your guess is as good as mine. It'll probably have some, incorporate some sort of orange graphics, because everything's gone orange now. But yeah, so yeah, keep your eye out. But there is some good deals on the current 66. So some people sort of, a new one comes out and it's like 500 quid more. You think, I should have got the other one really. But it's possibly going to be better, like they always are, aren't they? They're going to be like these sort of 10% lighter, 10% stiffer, whether you actually feel that or not. But it's obviously newer carbon. So yeah, there is one. Don't worry, there's one on the way. But until that point, I'll keep using my 66, and probably keep using 66 for a while, because it's just wonderful. What else have you got here? Colmic's equivalent to carbon chubbuck, Steve. I would say the N1000. No, sorry, N900. It's like it's we got one that's exactly the same as the B520. It's called an N or a B900. That's right. And a few of the guys, Steve will know them, John Taylor and Mickey Askell, been using them on the river, which you fished this year, and I got them into their shop for them, and John sidled up to me on the Winter League final and said, "Those looks really nice. They just stay sharp. They just stay sharp." And obviously he's a long time user of the whisker barb, and he just thought he'd just try something else, and yeah, he's mightily impressed with them. So I think he's going to try and persuade his shop to buy more. But that's the 520. There's one that's stronger. It's called the N600. It's a little bit stronger. I used it when I fished the Riverfest on the Y. I used it up there, and it's nice. It's nice. It goes down to a 20, I think, or might be 22. But they actually in the bigger sizes they use them for sea fishing. It's remarkable. Our hooks go up to like size 4. It's like I'd never use them, but I mean, yeah. That's what they do. What else have I got here? I was going to talk a little bit about groundbait and whips and stuff. Tips of building big weights of silverfish. Right, yeah. So there's no, sort of secret. I do like catching fish on the whip. And it's all about on the day trying to find out like the best way of catching stuff. Now, I've you know, I've been called. I remember it was Mike Nichols used to call me Rigsby because I basically just set up like millions of rigs, and he's, you know, every time I see him, if he's the only person who calls me Rigsby, but he calls me Rigsby. Yes, and I'll set up loads of stuff. Now all my whips here are set up beforehand. Come here, with the rigs already attached, and they're stored in. I've got like a hard case holder, it's like an ordinary Colmic. So basically got everything ready. Now, if you are fishing and you feel that actually, I wonder if I just try something else to catch it, you can just pick it up and have a go. Now, sometimes you'll see people at the beginning of the match, they might set up like 4 rigs, and then before the whistle, they'll wander around and chat to you, you know, oh yeah, but I'm still getting stuff in my bag. Equally, at the end, I'm putting stuff in, and I'm possibly like last back to the pub, you know, so, and before anybody says it's not, you know, to buy the, you know, miss the first round, at all, it's because I'm putting this stuff away. But yeah, so have everything ready is one of my things, and also like try things out. Back when I was a youth, I used to fish with Thatchers, and at the time so did Des Ship, who's you know, we all know is a wonderful angler, and I got this little saying: what would Des do? It's a bit corny, I know. Sorry, Des, but if you're sort of thinking it, you know, you think I'll put some feed in, or shall I just try this? And it's really sort of it's really easy to think it, but if you're thinking it, do it. For Christ's sake, do it. And I think it's, you know, if you just try something, if you try something and it works better, then actually, you know, rather than plundering on your same things, so like short line or whip, you know, so just try both. Regarding the whip, try and be smooth. Don't try and thrash the water to a froth. Just, you know, swing out, swing back in again, you know, fish on. Whip for bleak, I love catching bleak. Another whip a tip, it's Simon Willsmore, this one. Essentially, you sort of see on the, you know, the forums, people say, you know, cut your whip rig so they're like 6 inches up the rig, you know, so the fish swing to hand. You basically want the rig virtually the same length as the whip, because as the fish comes in, it's coming down below the whip, and you can take up and unhook it. And what's happening is your flick tips or your elastics not trying to pull the hook out your hand. You know, you actually unhook it really easy, swing it again, put the fish in the net, and you're fishing. So I tend to have the rigs around the same length, so it's easy to unhook. So little things like that. Have spares, you know, tied up. So if you have a tangle, you know, do that. So that's one of my things. Somebody talked about sloppy ground bait there. Yeah. And meant lean, so yeah, good one, Clive. So we'll talk about that. Sloppy ground bait. So basically, and again, because I can buy it from Colmic, I tend to use about sort of 3 of their ground baits. So the first one is Albarella. So it's like a again, it'd be like a census, you know, cloud or whatever, but it's an Italian bleak ground bait. So it's like, you know, wow. Again, it'd be similar. If you ask for it, it'd be a similar sort of price to census in the shops. It's incredibly cloudy, very very soft, and you can get that in. It's beautiful, and you can mix it with other things as well. So the next one is impressive. Now, when I sort of like showed this to people, and I did really well on the Thames Festival the last few years. I've been using this stuff, and I always like let people have a sniff. You know, you know, have a sniff of this. You know, and everybody seems to say like, "Oh, that's what ground bait used to smell like." It's like one of those sort of old-fashioned sort of like sweet coconutty sort of Vandenide type ground baits. It's designed by you got Falsini there, look, and you got who's that? What's his name? I don't know. Vincenzo Natali. He's a German champion. He's developed these ground baits, but this is what I like. It's a soft ground bait, but you mix it hard. You can get some bait into it and put it in, get it down. But another little tip, right? Who uses Trassix, Census Trassix? I mean, I'd probably do them out some sales here, but I remember reading an article on one of the magazines. So you got your little Trassix. That's a black one. So yeah, you sort of sniff it. What does it smell like? Whatever, you know. What is it? Is it a paint? Is it a glue? You know, is it whatever? But I've seen it around like yonks ago. Some guys over in Holland who use like really black ground bait. They're using ferrous oxide. You think, where they get that from? You know. So essentially, it's like a stuff you you know, to colour cement with. So any of you builders out there, you can see. Whoops. There we are. Cement colour. So it's like a, and strangely enough, you can buy it in like white, red, yellow, and black. So same as the Trassix. So this is about, I don't know, £8, and that's about £5. So Just keep topping that. The yellow one, if you mix it with a cloudy ground bait, it just makes a proper cloud in the water. You're probably get it done for sort of saying, oh, you're putting toxics, but what's in Trassics, what's in any of it really, But that's what it is. That's what I tend to use. Is like a cement colour. And the last ground that I use is one called Black. And that's really sticky. My good friend Gary Fish likes this one. You can properly get some stuff in it, get some black, some dead pinkies, and just squeeze it and it goes down. So the leam, we're talking about leam now, we're on the Gloucester Canal. Where's that gone? Over here. I've been really lucky to actually fish those matches the last few years, and it's wonderful, lucky or unlucky to be near the French, because A, you're going to get a walloping, because this is what they do, and B, you can sort of learn from them. So the leans we do, again, so to do the same, but black and light damp lean. And I put it in like loads of my ground bait mixes. So on the Thames, I mix the Impressor, put some of this in, and it just goes down. You can mix it almost like putty, and it goes down. Started using it first of all, a long time ago when my team, we got through to the League final for the first time on the Neen. Here Des comes into it again. So we basically, what do we do? Let's ask Des. So we met him at a pub near Bath. Great. Had a beer. Des, I think, doesn't drink, so he probably had some Coke possibly. But we benefited by a few of us driving. The rest sat in the banks. We had a beer or two. And it came to we talk about rigs he uses and whatever. And it came to like what Groundbait did use. It's basically like England team used Lake and Lean for lots of stuff. How do you mix it? So he was out in the car park and he got his like 3 bags of Sensor's Lake out of the car. 2 bags of lean, puts in a big bag. Then he got his drill out. It was the first time I'd possibly seen a drill being used, and grinds it away and pours water into it. And it was like wonderful. And he squeezed it together. And he was like chucking it from one end of the car park to the other. And I think I was thinking, Christ, how can I get it back into my bucket and put it in my freezer for later on? Sort of thing. I was thinking he's just done about sort of 15 quid, 20 quid of ground bait there, just showing us how to mix it. But so what he does is just basically lake and lean in the same one. You often sort of see people say mix the ground bait first and mix it slightly damp, put the lean in, do it, but everything goes in the same bucket. And I've been using these two Colmic ground baits for quite a while now. I know what sort of how much water. So if you've got like a kilo, I'll just tip a pint of water in. A lot of people say, I'll put a little bit in bit by bit, but it's going to take I'll put it straight in and just whiz it with a whisk, and I possibly mix it a little bit on the damp side, and you can really squeeze like putty, but it's going in, and the roaches love it. They love like a hard ground bait. They can tap out. I've seen Rob Houston's watching again. He likes the put the bread in hard, because they just basically sort of tap that, bring them like a soft ground bait, and I think that's obviously the lean separates that. That's probably why they do it. But if you can get something hard, the roach like it. But so that's why I use the lean. And obviously, if you go to the Census Challenge, and even if you don't fish it, go and watch it one year, because it's fascinating. I was like a next peg to one of the guys a couple of years ago, and I got a bright walloping. And I think because like most people go there to the Gloucester, and like English blokes will fish the feeder. Obviously, you can't do that in the Census Challenge, so you sort of fish for bream on the pole, But they just catch fish like through the water. They just we'll go there and put Olivet rigs up and fish on the bottom and for these skimmers, and they're just fishing like 2 foot deep. You think, well, they're catching roach, but I think it's possibly because they fish that all the time. So you go over to France, you drive, and there's like a network of canals that look virtually the same as the Gloucester Canal. And I'd love to go over there and have a fish, but and they come over there as like being at home for them. Apart from obviously we speak English, and we bacon sandwiches in the morning, that sort of thing. But it's just like home for them, and they just catch fish that us English people don't really catch on the Gloucester Canal, unless you're fishing bloodworm all the time. And I think I'd love to see more bloodworm matches. There was somebody talking on Facebook the other night about should we have more? Yeah, I think we should. Make bait limits, bloodworm. The more comes across, the cheaper it will become. It's not a particularly expensive bait. When you look at like kilos of worms and pints of casters and stuff, you just need bloodworm, and it's on joker. And as long as the quality is good, you'll learn more, but you'll catch more fish. You go to the Gloucester. We fish a winter league, super league there, and a spring league there, and you're not allowed to use it. You're trying to catch things on pinky, so that you're going to catch fish so much quicker on bloodworm. But yeah, the French are just wonderful what they do. I mean, look at it. You know, put it the other way. Look at the. Used to run an international thing on Fishermania, didn't they? And the English blokes used to wallop that every year because obviously this is what they do. You know, you see poor old Jean Dest trying to fish for carp, and he looks just as deaf as, like, you know, some of us do fishing bloodworm in Leam. You know, so it's, yeah. So answering your question there, essentially it's, you know, it's because they do what they do, and I think the more you use, you know, things like Leams and bloodworm and whatever, but you know, you get used to actually you know, how good they are, and I, you know. I like to put a bit of Leam on the ground bait, and it's not because it's like cheaper than the ground bait itself, and I'm a bit of a tightwad, but I think it goes down nice. It makes a proper plop when you put it in. You know it's going to break down. You know, just again, if you're on the river this year, put a bit in, see what you think, because I think it's lovely stuff. Right, Steve, he just asked me the first place I'm going to go after lockdown. Right, hopefully. See, I don't really do lakes, so I'll probably the canal, but I mean, I might even just wait to go on the river. And have an old-fashioned June the 16th type thing. Yeah, so I mean, I like Staverton in the summer. It's a lovely venue. It's on the Bristol Avon. They have matches there every Wednesday from like start of the season to probably the end of August, because it gets a bit too dark. But they draw at 2 o'clock. So you drive into the field, pay your £15, which is even better because it's like not too expensive, and then you just pull your peg and you just drive down the field and park up behind your peg. So I've got all my ready-made rigs, you know, everything, all the rods are all ready-made up. They're all ready to go. You park up, even leave the radio on. It's quite pleasant. And then yeah, so if you're not really starting until June, I'll go there. But you know, I'll probably go to the canal if. Right, Andy Britt, do they do a jacket? They would need a smaller jacket for you now, Andy, because obviously you lost a bit of weight, mate. But me being a bit of a greedy fellow, I've not done. I wish I could. You know, obviously I didn't want to do what reason why you've done it, but you know, well done, mate. I saw your profile picture, your healthy man you used to be, but yeah, we do lots of sizes. Our Colmic clothing, and I mean, mine. I normally take an XL on ordinary stuff, and like from there it's like 3XL. So if I had a medium, it'll probably, you know, it'll probably sort of fit like a 6-year-old child, you know. So yeah, if you're buying any of our stuff, make sure you know. Can try it on beforehand, but that's what we got. So Nicola said Shane Caswell's always back last. Is that because he's doesn't want to be first in the bar, Nick? Possibly the same, yeah. So somebody's after Andrew Taylor. I've had a word with him, a message on Facebook regarding the Evolution box. He wants to buy some separate plastics. I don't think, unfortunately, that you buy the box as a black box or a white box. And it does look like they come off, but I think it's integral. But I will get over to Todbury Manor for you, Andrew, and find out you know, if they've got any bits that you can probably do that with. But yeah, so they're not too far from me, and I will pop down when we're laid out a bit, you know. So bear with me. But I mean, a lot of people sort of change their box colours with you know, with spray or powder coat, or and I've seen some people do it with like a almost like a, what's it called? Like a sort of a carbon look. That looked really nice in that box, actually, to be fair. Almost like a sort of a they cover cars with, don't they? It's like a sort of a plastic, and they heat it up, and that looked really nice. If you know something that can do that, that's probably your best option. It's funny now how we're all sort of tarts nowadays, and look like want our tackle to look the best, you know. But you know, hence you know. John Tacknell, small wagglers on canals. Right, John. I fish with John in our winter league, so I won't give too much away. Yeah, of course I will. Again, I always use the waggler. I'm possibly like the only one using one, set one up. And I saw Robbo put a message on there as well regarding our national last year, and he was like amazed. I was next to him, we were catching fish, and I got up halfway, unzipped the waggler rod and shook it apart, and I basically won the section on the national, which was really nice. But for wagglers, you want a soft rod for a start. I use a microlight. I love to recommend a Colmic rod, but we haven't really got any of that. But I got an old microlight. I tell you what's really important is a fine line. So I use this stuff in 012. It's rather nice. It just casts the lighter the line, proper sort of Gary Etheridge style. The lighter the line you've got, the easier you cast a small float. So if you've got a small float on, and it's like dragging, you know, £3 maximum, you'll just never cast it. So you want to use something really fine and supple. You know, Rob Houston probably did that better. He's an old image guy. You know, like the Wagglers. I still do it. You know, But yeah, I think it's down to the main line. If you use a nice fine main line, a small waggler, but I've always got one. I've always got one set up in the bag. You know, be it for bleak on the river, you know, if they move across, or on the canal, and it sort of comes with them everywhere. It's like a single rod case with I've got a finger dab bail on reel, and just be smooth. On our canal in the winter, you know, sometimes they don't want the pole on the reds, and a waggler is a really good method, or a long whip. On the Winter League last year at Devizes, I mean, John, you know, I'm referring just to me and John, our conversation now, but you know, you can ship across the canal when you're catching fish, but if you just put the whip up, and again, I use just the ordinary one of those bleak whips with the same rigs, you know, you'll catch fish. And going on to that, let's see if I can find the floats. Here we go. There's one there. There's a couple floats of the whip. It's that one there. It's my black t-shirt. It's called a Velux. It's a very, very short stem. If you don't ever hold the float there, look. Very short stem. Fiberglass tip, so it's really sensitive. But believe it or not, on the Kent Avon last year, I was using a half gram one of those. Just bulk down, swing it across. The wind was just dead right at Devizes, and you could like pluck fish out, and they didn't know they've gone. You know, wherever you're shipping the pole across on top of the reds, they tend to sort of spook a bit after a while. But you know, you couldn't. If the wind was blowing one way or the other, you just couldn't bother using it. You'd have to use a waggler. But I tend to like using like top and bottom floats, and that's what I'd use. The other float I will get back to when I finish, mate. Sorry, David. Is a big one, but that's one of ours as well. So essentially, the all balsa or the wire. Now the balsa one, these are particularly good when you're fishing on the bleak. That's a gram and a half. So I mean, I'll be using something like a 0.5. Or the shot, you know, so far from the hook, with the swivel again, like I showed earlier, and the float cops it. Quite often you won't get like you get several bites. You'll get it where the float, you hit it on the surface, the float will go, and you know the line will tighten up. And your arm will pull out of its joint. That's, you know, you never miss those. Other times, you know, the float will cock, and it won't be upright. It'll be like that. That's all it is, and it'll be fish on. The most important thing, you know, regarding like catching lots of fish like that, is that you want really sharp hooks. And thankfully, ours are really sharp. But if you start missing bites, just get rid of the hook, because you know that they prick themselves and they're beyond. When I'm fishing on the bleak on the rivers, it's just a. Let's see if I can get my hand. It's just like that. You don't need a strike. You know, it's a proper like just a movement, because they're going away from you. And you got to move it like an inch or two back, and if you don't miss them, it will stay there again. So yeah, sometimes you get the bites that are like just gone, and the other times it's just sort of just doing that or that. It's not quite upright. They're great for that. But if it's got really windy conditions, then this comes into play. So the Velux is like a wire stem, and it basically helps cock it better. That gets blown about a bit in the wind. But so those are the two I use: a Velux. And I think it's a Rezo. Funny enough, I went to the Colmic factory. There's a signpost for a Rezo. I thought, oh, right, that's where they get the name from. So there we go. Alan Barnes sitting dogs. He's been bored. Sorry, Alan. So Robbo's been talking about a section on the day. Nick's saying that everybody's bored, aren't they? Now, what the hell are we doing? Blimey, I've been going an hour. So if you've got any more questions, by all means, you know, ping through. I might do another one if there is some more. I think it's a Queen's speech now, isn't it? So yeah, guys, if you want to go away and listen to the Queen, not listen to me, I wouldn't feel embarrassed at all. You know, by all means, she is our monarch and all that. Any more questions? Clive, have I done? I think we've still got 37 watching. Sloppy Groundbait, falling ring on Olivettes. So basically, so Dave Sydenham, sorry mate, I did see Sloppy Groundbait, but I tend to use like a bulk shot. So you tend to want to get the bait. You want to keep sliding the float up until it's the right distance away. So if you're fishing like 2 foot deep, and the fish are at 2 foot, you'll just get these lovely bites. I'm one for like getting the bait to the fish as quick as it can be. If you're fishing like on the bottom, you know, like I said earlier regarding the hook lengths, I'll just get everything down right to the bottom. You know, you want to present the bait where the fish are as soon as you can, quick as you can, so you can get back and get another one. Sometimes you want a shot, but I even for like, you know, bleak on the river, I tend to use a bulk shot, which, you know, is just feel a little bit odd. You want to, you know, be strung out and stuff, but generally that's what I use. Scroll see if I miss any more. Right, Steve Heath, are you still watching? Because if you are, and you're not watching the Queen's Speech, I'll quickly run you through those. Here we are. Yeah, he is margin poles. Right, Steve, you are there. I'm going to step on my things. So essentially, we're looking at 3 here. So old-time users of Colmic products will probably remember the H1 Slim. I'm just repeating myself from earlier for Steve because he missed me. He's probably making a cup of tea at the time. So they're on this mandrel here, which is like a really slim. That's a 10-metre pole. It's like incredible, but again, you can equally possibly lift me on it. There's 2 nowadays. There's 2 brands of or 2 things of carbon. So the Xperia is like cheaper. It's probably as good as the H1s they ever used to be. It's a lovely, strong, nice pole to use. But they basically produce this Superba in a slightly sort of higher grade carbon, so it feels lighter. Now you could use both of these. I don't know if you go to the Y, Steve, but you can use both of these on the Y long line, and that's durable poles. You can do that, but equally they're very good for hauling in big fish. And if you sort of see lots of stuff from Europe, you see people catching great big catfish and carp using them. So that's our sort of slim series. There's a slim series, it's Superba and Xperia, and the other one's a K series poles. So the K series poles are Carpa with a K. One's the Italian language, but here's an example of one of them here. So that's a Speed K40. So the K is there, look. And the K series poles have got a slightly wider board than the normal match poles at the bottom of the second section. So if there's more carbon there, it's going to be stronger and possibly better for hauling in big fish. This one's, you're looking at, I think it's 199. I could get probably more than that, but it's a nice pole. Again, it's 10 metres. There's 2 or 3 that are shorter, but the majority of our margin poles, believe it or not, are 10 metres. I think possibly because a lot of the Italian finish are quite deep. So the margin poles, that's the one to go for. I'm getting another one in. So these all arrived, or this one particularly arrived before the lockdown. So I haven't actually been out to any shops showing them yet. So if you want to meet me, Steve, your local shop, I'll quite possibly show you if you really want to. I've got all the poles. And equally, anybody in the southwest, and I'm sure goes Adam in the Midlands and Sean in the north, quite easily, happily meet you or leave the pole at the shop. So if you want to look at it, that's the way. Because I know it's a massive undertaking for the shops to actually buy the products to put them in there for you guys to look at them. So we're happy to drop them off or whatever. I done 1 or 2 of Rick Green's, and they were pleased for that. And I think sold a few poles because of it, but which is nice. Obviously everybody's happy, but that's good. You're on it, Steve. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll start doing. And I think the whip you ordered before the lockdown is on its way. Apparently, I've been told. So at some point I'll drop it up to Cowan, isn't it? Yeah, Cowan's your local shop, and they can sort of see it. So hopefully that's fine. So yeah, I think I've signed off now. So I listened to the Queen. There we go. Happy VE Day, everyone. I'll knock back a pint of beer. Actually, I'm actually stopped. I've got a dry mouth actually after chatting to everybody. But I hope you enjoyed it. Any other questions? It's probably a whistle stop tour of my tackle box, a whistle stop tour of everything Colmic. I missed it. I've got some elastic. I missed it. The elastic there, but maybe another time. Hollow elastic. Bob Nudd talked about it the other day. It's the future. Fine hollow elastic for roach fishing is the future. Believe me. But again, go on. I'll show you. So essentially, we do elastics. It's just called hollow elastic. We do them in 5 metre lengths. So there's several diameters, and again, a lot of the firms sell them 4 to 6, 6 to 8. But what's one person's interpretation of a 4 is very different to another person's. So ours are all graded in the diameter. So like line nowadays, people have gone modern, and rather than say I'm using 2 pound line, I'm using 0.12 or whatever. So the line is the elastic's in diameters. So I tend to use there's a thing saying 1, but they've never actually produced it. So the smallest they do is 1.2, and it's just wonderful. It just comes out the pole beautifully, goes back in beautifully. And I tend to only use it in the top section of my pole, so which is just about 1.5 meters, I think. So out of a 5 metre, I get 3 lengths. So it's really quite economical as well. I basically cut them into 3 equal lengths, thread it up with the pole, and I might have probably, you know, sorry, that much left is too wide to the screen, but you know, I'll just wind it around a winder bung. Now, it does tend to fray a bit, this light, so I'm not going to lie to you. So, you know, just keep an eye on it, really. I tend to sort of use an elastic band around the bottom of the pole, so when I'm storing my rigs, make sure the elastic's back in the pole. I think it's the UV light gets it, to be fair. I'm sure it's the same with all elastic, but yeah, just keep the elastic back in there when you're not using it, and then just have a look every now and again. And if it is fraying a bit, just unwind it a little bit off your winder bung, and just bite it 6 inches off. Just, you know, so I've got to last all season with this stuff, you know, fairly easily. I get 3 lots on a spool. The ones I tend to use, I've only got, there we are, this is the one. This is the 1.5. So for like roach fishing, the 1.2 is like wonderful. And for like heavier roach fishing, you know, flat float fishing, you know, skimmers, you know, deeper water, bigger perch, the 1.5. And I've got one rig with the, what's the next one? 1.8 is basically pink. So it's the white stuff and the blue stuff. Again, you know, I used to use like 5 Preston, but I don't know, it just works. It's really hard to explain. When I first got it, I put it through like 2 sections, and it was like, you know, you strike into a fish and it'd be like 4 miles down the canal, you know, and obviously, you know, you're spending more money putting your top kit. So I thought, actually, if I put less of it, and I think everybody who uses this now has gradually got around the fact, yeah, just put it through 1 section, it works really well. So that's the stuff I use. I did get out to show people. I actually forgot earlier on. You know, no good for you, the guys fishing the carp legs, but I don't do that. So you know, for roach on the river, that's the stuff for sure. I've used it probably two maybe 3 seasons now. After, funny enough, Rob Hewson put me onto it. Even though it's a Colmic rep and he's not, you know, he sort of said, "Have you tried that?" I said, "Well, I'll give it a go then, Rob." You know, and then I put it through 2, and you know, had this trouble with it, you know, being too stretchy. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna be tight and put it through 1, but actually it works better. They also do it in a 3 metre length, so you can probably get 2 out of that, but you might as well get 3 out of the 5, you know, and have a little bit of extra on a winder. So that's what I do. So hopefully you've had enough of me by now. You've listened to the Queen's speech. Nobody's watching me. Yeah, lovely. Thanks for letting me do this, Clive. If you want any more, guys, yeah, I've had nothing to say that time, but I reckon I'm going to finish. Is everybody okay with that? How do I finish? I'm going to do that. Yeah, see you guys. Hopefully we'll be out fishing soon. Yeah, I really hope we do. And like I say, I'll see you there. Any questions? You know, I'm quite amenable. So yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you. Bye.